right. He broke the table here.
I think so.
Other than that, everything's great.
All right. Well, we only have 3 hours.
Multi-network superstar.
I'm big and clumsy this morning.
Right. You got to be.
Welcome to my corner.
You got here last night cheating on us with the Terry and Howie and Strahan, doing double dip yesterday. And
yeah, it's not necessarily cheating because we're all in the Fox family.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are.
It's even more hurtful when you cheat with a family member, Steve, but I'm happy for you. Good to see you.
That's so disturbing on so many levels.
Good morning, everyone.
We got a big Friday for you. We got more drama between Draymond and KD in the big world of basketball. A full slate of NFL action to preview, but let's start with the game that you previewed last night on Fox. Thank you so much, sir. Thursday night football. Aaron Rodgers in Seattle, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive in the first. Feel free to compliment me. That was Rodgers to Robert Tonyan's 54-yard strike. Pack up 21-17. I'll catch up if you want to compliment. Fourth quarter, Seahawks down 4. Russell Wilson shaking first 3 quarters for him. Figures it out in the fourth. That's to Ed Dixon. Seattle up 27-24. Next drive, here's Rodgers. Incomplete on 3rd and 2. So Mike McCarthy decides they're going to punt, despite only 4:20 left on the clock, with the Packers only having 1 timeout. Packers would never get the ball back. Mike Davis converts the first down, takes it to the 2-minute warning. That would be your final. Packers lose 27-24. They fall to 4-5-1. Here's Coach McCarthy on the decision not to go for it.
Obviously, would have been a really bold move to go for it on 4th and 2 back up at the 30. Did you give it any consideration?
I definitely. We had the injuries to Kenny Clark and Mike Daniels. So yeah, it was definitely consideration there. But with the 1 timeout and then ability to stop the clock at the 2 minutes, so we played the numbers, but we considered taking the time out there and going for it on 4th and 2.
Is there any hope left for this season?
Come on, Ross. What kind of question is that?
I don't know.
Come on, man.
Can't win on the road. What are you going to be able to do?
I don't even know how to answer that, Rob. Come on. What am I supposed to say? Of course there's hope. Of course we believe in each other. We're just going to take one galvanizing moment. So whether that's a speech or practice or something happens in the game, something's got to get this thing going. I thought we had moments tonight where that was the way we were going. The defense, a lot of injuries. Offensively, we lost Jimmy, but guys battled. So, nobody gave up hope. We just didn't play well enough when we had to play well enough.
There's a lot in this game to break down, but if you just take a step back, what do you think the overall key was in this matchup?
The Packers' inability, because they had to lead from the beginning of the game. They were gifted a fumble early in the game, huge turnover on the road. They were able to take the crowd out of it. So at that point, especially with Aaron Rodgers, he got on fire the second and the third quarter. How do we, as a young team, win these football games? And most of the time in the NFL, you have to be very, very accurate if you don't have a consistent running game in your short passing attack. That's what we see with Brady. That's what we see with Breeze in New Orleans. At the end of the game, they don't have to run the ball to be able to eat up the clock. They can throw it. Green Bay decided the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, they're going to continue trying to throw the football. And when those passes were incomplete, when they were not able to keep drives going, that allowed Seattle to get back on the field, and that's what happened. Late in the game, I thought they missed it in the broadcast on the 3rd down and short. People were surprised McCarthy didn't go for it, which led to the question. I was surprised they didn't talk about the tip pass. When Aaron Rodgers misses the guy wide open in the flat, that ball was tipped. That ball comes out of his hand. You could see the defensive tackle gets a little piece of that ball. Now, people will talk about McCarthy. He should have went for it right then, but from Seattle, they couldn't get to Aaron Rodgers all day. They put consistent pressure, but in that situation, the defensive tackle makes that big play, that being the biggest play of the game, because they didn't get the ball back. So people will talk about going for it. If they had run the ball in the second half, if you look at the number of snaps, normal NFL game, 65 snaps. Green Bay had 48 snaps. So you have to earn the right to be able to do that. They were on pace for that, but not enough first downs, not enough rushing attempts. The running backs had 12 times last night where they carried the ball. Aaron Jones carried it 11, only 4 times in the second half. I mentioned last week's games. Aaron Jones was the best Aaron on Green Bay's team. Now, Aaron Rodgers was special, but you got to be able to help him out. You got to be able to put these games away. You have to be able to run the ball. And when you don't attempt to run, to me, that led to them losing this game late.
And they could have run the ball in that 3rd and 2. Also, that's a pass Rodgers makes almost 100 times out of 100, which is why it had to be tipped or something had to have happened, because he does not miss that pass.
He said that. That's exactly what he said. He said, if you give me 100 times, I would never quite do that again.
I didn't know if I didn't see it get tipped, and they didn't point out on the broadcast. I thought it stuck in his hand, which would have been odd given I didn't know what happened there. But I do know this. Mike McCarthy said after the game we went with the numbers. No, you did not. That was everything. You're right. They should have run the ball more. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't have been in this position. But you are. It's 4th and 2 for your season. And you punt the ball away, knowing you have those defensive injuries, knowing that, here's what the math does tell you with 1 timeout and 4:20 left. 2 first downs and Aaron Rodgers never touches the ball again. Mm-hmm. You're down 3. If you go for it.
That's even without the injury.
That's without the injury.
So even
a fully healthy.
The pure numbers say you should go.
Of course.
Because you're not going to get the ball back. And that's not even baked into what's my defense? What is my defense playing like?
And what's the other team's running game like? Oh, it's the number 1 running attack in football. Oh, they've already popped us for $150 in this game, and last week hit their opponent for $270. It is 4th in your season. If you believe when you punt away that, we're going to force a 3 and out, well, guess what? If you go for it on 4th down and don't force the 3 and you force the 3 and out, if you go for it on 4th down and don't get it, pardon me, guess what? If you force the 3 and out, you think you're forcing after the punt, you get the ball back down 6. It's still touchdown wins the game. I cannot believe in this spot, 4th and 2 on his own 33-yard line, you would put yourself in position where you are relying on backup defensive players in order to get the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe McCarthy did that.
And if McCarthy was looking at the numbers, he should have looked at the defensive numbers that they have. Because since the beginning of 2016 season, Jenna, no one in the NFL has given up more points on the road than the Packers, but Cleveland Browns, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's the list that they're on. So he's talking about, I went by the numbers. No, he didn't. Not the numbers this defense has been giving up. And the irony to it, what was the final score of the game?
27-24.
So you know as a Packer, I got to get to 31 because my defense this year has given up 30 on the road, 18 at home. So not only this season, but the last couple seasons, they've not been good on and he should know that as the head coach.
So where does that leave the Green Bay Packers now? You heard Aaron Rodgers say, sure, there are chances are now.
Listen,
just the way we started the show.
Yeah. Fortunately for them, the reason they can hold on to some hope is one of the teams they're chasing, Minnesota, that's their next opponent. It's not going to be hard to get up for that game. Minnesota plays Chicago this weekend in a big divisional matchup, and then they get to play Minnesota. What else?
Yeah, and the Vikings have New England soon after that. So
the Vikings have New England.
Yeah, right. Even though Green Bay's got to win, Minnesota's got a tough road ahead with those 3 contests right there.
You can convince yourself that they have opportunities, but I'm going to go back to Aaron Rodgers walking off the field after the stirring comeback against San Francisco before the bye and use his words. He said, man, our next month of football is really tough. We're going to find out what we're all about. And here's what we found out in their first game. They fumble a kickoff and they lose a winnable game. In the next game, they fumble the ball in a tie game against the Patriots and they lose that game. They beat the Dolphins at home. And then in this game, you have 4th in your season for 2 yards. The risk v. reward is so skewed. And when I heard Mike McCarthy say, it'd be one thing if he said, you know what? I know what the numbers say, but I trust our defense. Yeah, I didn't like our protection.
Don't say that to my guy.
Don't
say that to my numbers guy.
Don't say you know what the numbers say and then you went against them. It was in a vacuum, you go for that. In the context of the game where they're running all over you, your guys are injured, and you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, it is a no-brainer. And then for him to say, we thought about taking a timeout to go for it. No. You have to know on 3rd down what you're doing.
Yes.
You have to know on 3rd down. If it's incomplete, what are we doing? They blew 2 timeouts early in the game. They didn't have to. That's why they couldn't challenge what I thought was going to be an incomplete pass. They had challenged
touchdown drive,
on the 34-yard play, Tyler Lockett. This was coaching mismanagement top to bottom. And the only saving grace for Green Bay is games like this might get them a new coach next year, and maybe Aaron Rodgers will have a schematic advantage for the first time in quite some time.
And not lost in all this is a good win for Seattle and for Russell Wilson, especially towards the end, which we will talk much more about that side coming up. But first, a little basketball.